Welcome to the Everyday GSD podcast. Today's special guest, a friend of mine, Gary Brackett. Gary, thank you for coming.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I've got I've got so much I want to talk to you about, but first let me give you a couple shout outs because you've got a very impressive record and some amazing history. You truly are the definition of everyday GSD, which means obviously, as you know, everyday get shit done. Yep. You've been doing this for a while. You went to high school or you went to college at Rutgers.
Yes.
You were a walk-on for the football team. Senior year, I think you were the captain. Mm-hmm. And then you ended up getting drafted by
free agent.
Free agent.
Yep.
Picked up by the Colts. You were with the Colts for how many years?
9.
9 years.
Yeah.
And of course, one of those years, Super Bowl champion.
That's right.
And you were also a captain for what, 6 years?
Yeah, 6 years with Peyton Manning.
Yeah. Nice. And so you hang up the football, you retire, and then you just go and live off in the sunset. No, not you.
Yeah.
You decide you're going to get into, you have your master's degree.
Yep.
You're extremely intelligent. You also have, you owned a bunch of restaurants. You own a chain of restaurants,
right,
which we'll talk about. Mm-hmm. And you also owned a high-end steakhouse. I would call it a steakhouse.
Yeah, it was a steakhouse.
Yeah, downtown Indianapolis,
right
in the heart of where all the like really nice restaurants are. Close to the Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yes.
And then also you are a business coach now.
Right.
And you have you have a podcast.
Yeah.
So one thing I just want to say is you, in your podcast, Successful Leaves Clues.
Right. Success Leaves Clues.
Success Leaves Clues.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that a little
Yes.
bit. And then we're also going to talk about your mentoring and your coaching with GaryBrackett.com. And when we bring that back up, remind me so we can put it on the screen. Perfect.
I like it.
So I feel like I got a good little bio on you, but I've only really touched a little bit of it because, as you know, we share some mutual friends, and they've been talking about you and saying you should have Gary on the show. And when Zach, we saw Zach at a charity event just recently, that we were all involved with for the Heroes Club that supports the police and first responders.
That's right.
And we connected, and I was like, you know what, I got to get this guy on the show. So thank you. I know you're extremely busy.
Yeah.
So I won't keep you all day, and we'll have a couple drinks, and we'll let the audience listen to some cool stories.
I like it.
I love it. Okay, so let's talk about you're playing football in college, and you're like, you know what, I'm just fucking crushing everyone, or what?
Nah, not at all, man. So funny story, man. It's like growing up in a small town, Glassville, New Jersey. 500 kids at high school, right? In my mind, I'm the man because you don't see anything else, right? It's Group 1 football, right? I'm crushing, I'm dominating, but no scholarship letters. And my coach then sent out like my senior year playoff tape to get me recruited. So I have no offers, right? And I get an opportunity when I'm done to go and walk on at Rutgers.
So, and for those of you people that live under a rock, Rutgers is in the Big Ten, they call it?
Yeah, Big Ten. It was in the Big East back then, but now we switched to the Big Ten.
Big Ten, and also you have to be smart to go there.
Yeah, I mean, pretty intelligent. Yeah.
Because
it's a state school, right? Yeah. It's the same as like if you're in Indiana, the Indianas and the Purdue's, right? It's just not a shoe-in. It's not no knock on Ball State, or you know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, I got you. Well, I just know because one of the sales guys that used to work for me, great guy, Gaius Salem, and he's from the area. Okay. And big Rutgers fan. And when you came out to play for the Colts, knowing he knew I lived here, and boy, every time you hit someone he would be sending me messages. So he's a big fan. So then I became a fan, and of course going to the Colts games. And I think it's awesome that not only did you kick ass in football, which I still want to continue to talk about, but you give so much back to the community. So you truly are an everyday GSD human. So I love it.
Nah, I appreciate that.
No, it's good.
Sure.
So your coach makes this tape, and what happens?
Yeah, crickets. Crickets. But so here's the thing, right? It's just like, so we were able to play two ways because we didn't have like a big football team.
Okay.
So I played middle linebacker and I played running back. And I was on the kickoff team and return kicks, and I punted sometimes, right? So I damn did everything. I didn't realize that how spread thin you were, and when people are recruiting people, they're looking at stats like who's the top 5 rushers, who's the top 5 tacklers. When you're doing both, it's hard to really compare apples to apples for a kid who's just playing one side of the ball.
Right. I never thought of that before.
Yeah,
but it totally makes sense.
And to add to that, we were pretty damn good. So a lot of games, like I was sitting at halftime because we're up 28-0, 35-0.
Yeah, so you're not getting more stats for you because your team's already kicking ass.
Right. So then the asterisks, there's never any asterisks like on a dominant team.
Right.
So you don't know how dominant this kid really is because there's so much stuff that's like off the stat sheet. And that's the thing I think that real talent and real recruiters, they identify because some people say, well, he wasn't top 10. Like, this kid's a beast. It's like that, like the stat sheet doesn't tell the entire story.
Right. That totally makes sense though.
Yeah.
Not the way you just explained to me. But before I would be the person that said, well, yeah, I mean, this guy in high school had, 4 touchdowns and 18 sacks or whatever. So when really you got 4 touchdowns and 18 sacks because you were playing both sides of the game.
Right. And half of most of the games.
Right.
So when you look at just like, if there ever was an equation that was like, all right, how much time and how effective was he during his time? Like now they got all these statistics, the numbers, right?
Oh, right.
If they were like, all right, well, per minutes played, if you looked at that effectiveness, like he's off the charts.
So would you say and I don't know if this is the right question, but I'm going to ask it. Would you say at that time, were you kind of the underdog coming up?
Yeah. Because
you weren't being looked at? Because they didn't have the right information, really.
Yeah, I mean, I've been an underdog my entire life.
Okay.
I mean, it starts probably with my size. I'm 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah.
228, 235 is what I played at, right? So
but if anyone's just listening to this and not watching, he's still fucking jacked.
Oh, yeah, nah.
Sorry, Mom. But, Mom, they're going to keep coming. I love you, baby.
So here's the thing. I tell people, all right, I stay in shape, and I feel like I got one hit left, and it's going to be my daughter's first boyfriend. And, I feel like the word is going to travel, right? So that's why I'm staying in shape for. But now I think, I think fitness and being mentally strong, they go hand in hand. And I think for me, training my body and maxing out and getting the most out of it allows me when I have tough situations in life, that aren't physical, but it allows me to have that same type of mentality. Like, I'm going to get through this.
Right. No, that totally makes sense. So you're training at the NFL camp. Did you go to the combine?
No combine.
Okay, so you're at like what is it? What is the training?
It's called Pro Day.
Pro Day.
They come to your school. They work you out. Yeah.
So then all of a sudden you find yourself wearing the horseshoe.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, I got.
Well, I mean, not just that's it. I mean, obviously you busted your ass and you earned it.
So the funny story. During my pro day, there were supposed to be like 16 teams there, right? We had a stud who was actually my best friend, L.J. Smith.
Shout out to LJ.
LJ, he played with the Philadelphia Eagles, right? So he's a baller, right? So he was projected almost first round. He had some injuries, so he slipped to the second round. So all the teams were coming to see him. He tears his hamstring like Wednesday, like combine is Friday. So all these teams drop out. Like, LJ's not going, why am I coming, right?
Right.
So they cancel the combine like till LJ's healthy. So then on Thursday we get a call like, hey, the combine's back on. There's a couple of teams that are in town. So we end up having 4 teams at our pro day.
And you normally have 16.
16.
So we're talking underdog at the finest.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was just like, so you had to impress the 4 teams there. Yeah. And it was when they got there, it was kind of like a shit show. It was like, there was nobody from our side, Rutgers, running the pro day. So the scouts were just running it. And they're awful, right? They talk to you horribly. So they're just running the drill. So I mean, I had, a lot against me, making it to the team. But I performed well at the pro day. My numbers were solid. They were right in line where it needed to be.
What year did you get in the NFL?
2003.
2003, and you played for nine years.
2011.
And the Colts are always kind of up and down, up and down. They're a great franchise, but you were on the team obviously that won the Super Bowl, and you were a captain.
Yeah,
I mean this is huge.
And so when I played, the Indianapolis Colts from 2000 to 2010 was the most winningest team in any decade of history in the NFL.
Wait, say that again because I want everyone to hear that.
Yeah, so from 2000 to 2010, the Indianapolis Colts won more regular season games than any other team in any other decade of football.
So my friend Jay Paris, who I know he's probably listening to this, lives in the Adirondack Mountains in Malone, New York. Yeah. He's a huge fan of the Colts, which is kind of ironic living up in Plattsburgh. But he's going to hear this and he's going to be so excited that you just mentioned that because he's always talking about the Colts. Yeah. He'll text me during a game. He's watching it back on the East Coast, and he'll send me a text and say, like, "Come on, man, we need a W. We need a W." Yeah, and I'm at the game with the slow signal. I'm like, I mean, they're trying. They're trying.
yeah, right.
But I think it's so impressive that here you are. You come into the league, and you're on a good team, and you as you call yourself the underdog, but that didn't stop you physically or mentally because you had that everyday GSD mentality, and you're like, I'm going to work harder than everyone else. I'm going to push harder than everyone else, and I'm going to be successful at this job right now because this is my job. And that got you a ring, that got you the title, and you were the captain. I'm fucking impressed. Hey. I mean, we can wrap up the show right now, Justin.
Let's go.
Right? Do we have anything else to talk about? I mean, yeah. So I'm blown away by that. But you know what I really am impressed with is you didn't just retire and just go down to the Caribbean and just chill out. Yeah. You decided, you're like, hey, you know what? I've got a family. I want to continue making money. I want to be a successful person in the community. So talk to me.
Yeah. So it's funny. So at the time, my the mother of my children, she's a doctor. She's in like medical school. And my daughter at the time was probably like, I don't know, 8 years old, something like that. And my ex, right? She's going to work. She's 60 hours, 80 hours a week, busting her ass. And I'm golfing, right? I'm retired.
You're chilling.
I'm chilling, right? I'm a couple zippers, on the golf course. And then my daughter looks at the situation and she was like, Dad, like, what do you want to do when you grow up?
Oh yeah.
And I was like, what? Like, do you see this house? Like the Super Bowl ring? Like, what are you talking about? What I want to do when I grow up? I'm grown. Like, this is it.
This is it. I'm retired.
Yeah, right. But it's like that. It was like one of those sleepless nights when you start thinking like, damn, like this can't be it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm 30. At the time, I was probably 35 years old. And it's like, I got to do something with my life. So that's when I went back to school, got my MBA. And I look at it as, we all have these two boxes.
Well, I got to jump in there. Yeah. You're going to talk about the 2 boxes, but you got your MBA. Yeah. Not from some bullshit school either.
No. George Washington University.
Yeah. Say that again.
Yeah. Right, so that's legit, right?
Yeah, that's legit.
So it's just like, and at the time it was like one of the most expensive universities that you could go get your MBA from, right?
Yeah.
So it was a program with the NFLPA, and it was very well done. We did sessions in San Francisco. We did sessions in New York City. We did sessions in California.
Okay.
And then we went to Washington, D.C. So it was a great, I learned a lot and networked a lot. But I feel like in life, we all have these 2 boxes. And
2 boxes.
If we're not careful, we'll typically just grab the same tool that we're comfortable with. And for me, for a long time, that tool was a hammer. But the challenge, if you always grab a hammer, is that every situation then looks like a nail. But most situations in life, right, don't require a hammer. So I had to learn in school how to recalibrate some of my other tools and how to like understand what tool does this situation require.
I love it.
And then have the skill to actually be able to like pull that out and have it ready and calibrate properly that I can tackle this problem using a different type of tool.
And this is stuff that you teach when you go and mentor people and you coach them.
So coaching, the business coaching thing, and just like, I was a guy that learned a lot on his own. And unfortunately, when you're first and you've been in it, it's just like you're going in the minefield and you're getting hit with a lot of mines, right?
Right.
But someone has to figure out the path.
Right.
Someone has to figure out.
Someone has to make that path.
Yeah, figure out what not to do.
Right.
And what to do and what works and what doesn't work. So I feel like my perspective in life, I mean, I had a lot of success, a lot of failure, but I think from a wealth of knowledge standpoint, I feel like I'm primed. I feel like I'm in the best spot in my life, like mentally with the information I have, with the resources I have. Now just putting it all together, helping others. My goal, my mission is to create more leaders and less followers.
Your mission is to create more leaders and less followers.
Yeah. All right. Because, some people use their influence and their influence. Like, hey, follow me, do this. I'm doing this. Like, no.
I want to show you how to do it so you can lead others.
That's it. Create your own. Because my thing is like, the whole notion is like, don't teach people how to fish or walk up to the thing. I'm like, all that is great. But you know what's even better? Teach them to be hungry. If I teach you how to be hungry, you're going to find some freaking food somewhere.
Yeah. You'll find that fish.
Right. If I teach you how to be thirsty, you're gonna find what you need to quench your thirst.
Right.
So just like not only just showing them where it's at, but teaching them how to find it within. And I think that's a powerful thing because, a lot of times I'm just revealing to yourself what's already inside of you.
Right.
But you just never ask yourself the right question.
I say that all the time when I do public speaking or when I do coaching or mentoring. I tell people a lot of times, I go, I'm going to tell you something you already know. You're not pulling it out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bring this brand new, amazing idea that's going to be, millions of dollars out of a box. That's not what it is. I'm just going to open up your mind to tell you what you should already know, or you know it, but you're afraid to do it.
Right. Yeah. But I think a lot of people, it's just saying that the reason why you get coaching because you can't see the picture when you're inside the frame. Right? When you're inside the frame.
Oh, that's good. The reason you get coaching, Justin, you ready for this? Justin. Yeah. It's because you can't see the picture when you're inside the frame. These are all going to be good cuts. Yeah. I already can see it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. And I think it's so important because so many people is like you said, they understand it, they know it, but until someone else explains it to them, they're like, it was right there the whole time.
Right in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So it's amazing though, like what you, like if you're willing to do the work and like continuously search, like the answers that you'll find.
Right. So you retire from the NFL with an amazing career. Like I said, I want to mention this again, Super Bowl champion.
Right.
I mean, literally captain of the world championship team. I mean, that's most people after that, they're like, I'm done. So now you're at home with your beautiful daughter and she's like, Dad, what are you going to do? And so you decide you want to get into the restaurant business?
Yeah. So
you're like, I got an idea. I know how I can spend some money.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Fastest way to be a millionaire in a restaurant business is start with
10 million.
Yeah, start with 10 to bring you down to 1.
Yeah. So the thing of it is, when I got into the restaurant business, right, and I was making a bunch of investments. I had REITs, I had properties, I was flipping homes, and the first store went really well. I put up like $250,000 to open up the store. I got it back within a year. All right, and then it was kicking out like $150 a year after that. The second store was like $175, and I got that back within the first 6 months. So when you do it properly, it's extremely profitable in the restaurant business. But this is again back in the day, right? Commodities were different,
right?
Like what you're paying people were different. There was more people available, but now it's just extremely like challenging. Just with
how many restaurants did you have?
At my peak, I had 10 restaurants and I had 7 franchises sold.
So you had sold 7
franchises.
So 7 out of that 10?
No. I owned 10 and I had 7 franchises sold. So 20,
okay.
So 2020, I start the year with like $200,000 on the books for speaking, like opening up 7 restaurants, owning 10, and they want 7 out of the 10 were profitable, right? But how it works in Indiana is that our restaurants are seasonal, and during January, February, December, like we take a big hit with weather, right? People hibernate,
and then March came with COVID,
and then March Madness, we like get a windfall of cash that like protects us until over the summer, then we get football, right? So this thing every year. So what happened? 2020 rolls around, they cancel, the seasons.
Yep.
And then March Madness gets canceled.
Right. That's right.
And then it's like, hey, you can't eat at the bar at the restaurant.
Right.
Well, no more alcohol.
And I used to go to one of your bars that you had here in Carmel.
Yeah. Right down the street.
Yeah. And that bar would be packed with people. You had all the TVs in there, watching all the games. And I remember going in there, and I think I just flew back from Louisiana. I was at an event. It was an event in Louisiana. I just flew back. I was with a couple people, and we stopped at the Stacked Pickle when they were making an announcement on the TV saying restaurants are going to close at 11:30 tonight, and they're not going to reopen. And we all thought it was a joke.
Yeah, no,
I was like, that's real.
Yeah, and then they went like first you couldn't eat at the bar, then you couldn't eat inside a restaurant. Then it was all third party. Then we had like members of our team getting sick. Then what do you do there? Like, do you pay them? Do you not pay them?
Right.
So it was a whole thing, and it was all happening very quick. And it was just like, we were bleeding money, right? You go from no sports, no bar sales, all to go, and then we're starting to go through third party platforms.
Yeah.
They take 30%, 33% of your sales.
Yeah, all your bread and butter's gone.
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So for me, it was just like I had to separate obviously like who I was from what I was doing.
Right. And well, you made a conscious decision that it's not about your ego to just keep having these. You're like, financially, this doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
This isn't an underdog situation. This is oh shit, this thing's bleeding and it's just going to constantly take more money and no one's winning.
So it's like you're in the military, right?
Yes.
So, and I hate making military like analogies or metaphors.
It's okay.
It's always like
all my military buddies are watching, so be careful.
You're like, all right,
like, who's this fucking guy?
Yeah, I know, right? But it's like at some point when you're a captain, when you're a leader, you're in an unwinnable situation, and here comes a grenade on the ground, and as a leader, you're like, all right, either we all go out or I just sacrifice and take one for the team.
Right.
Then you just go and jump on the grenade.
Right.
And whether or not you live or die, right? You didn't think that far through it, right?
Right.
But in your mindset, your job as a leader is to protect your team.
Right.
So that's what I was thinking, like, all right, man, you know what? If I go ahead and shut down shop now, everyone gets in line of unemployment, everything goes through.
Yeah, it makes sense.
They were getting paid more money, for unemployment. So I just so that's what I did with the decision. Like, hey, based on the economics now, it makes zero sense to stay open.
Right. So
everyone get in line, get unemployment. I'll take the loss, and if we could get back open, we will.
Right.
But I mean, that time never kind of came. So it was just like, so for me, it was just like it didn't make sense at the time, and I also felt like with the knowledge that I obtained, that I could build it back over.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
And then it's like with my kids, I always was like caught up. I was like, yo, what do I leave for my kids as a legacy? And then I realized it's not what I leave for them, it's what I leave in them. And then I just talk about the mentality of like everyday
not
TSD.
What you leave for them. It's what you,
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's just like, all right, what type of mentality, what type of grit am I going to show? And the last 2 years, that's kind of when it occurred. But now, I feel like in every Hollywood movie, and we got a director here.
Oh yeah, Justin. And Justin's back too, by the way. Thank you, Justin. I know you had a little family emergency on the last episode, but and I don't know if that will be the last episode. But
shout out to Clark for helping me out.
Yeah, shout out to Clark from his studio. So yeah.
But so in every Hollywood movie, they tell you is like this hero's journey, right? Where it starts off as a hero, like that, the Hobbit. Right. And then he goes on this journey to go find something. Right. And then it's like a lot of failure, like enlightenment. And then he like comes back up once he knows. And I feel like that's what the last 2 years has been for me.
Well, and we're going to jump around a little bit because that's what I do. Because I'm always, that's what I do. I jump around.
Yeah.
Just to be clear. Movie.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the movie.
Yeah. So the movie.
let's talk about the movie.
Was based on, so Underdog. Not only was I obviously undersized, not only wasn't recruited, but I had some real life adversity. So it was a walk on at college, ended up being a 2-year starter, 2-year MVP, right? 2-year captain. Went to the NFL.
MVP, captain, NFL.
Yeah, and then I'm in the College Hall of Fame, right, at Rutgers University.
College Hall of Fame.
Right. So then I go to Indianapolis. And I was like, I was a camp body. I mean, there's 53 guys on the NFL roster, like 8 guys on practice squad. There's 100 guys that get invited to camp. The 100 guys are just there to protect the other guys, so they're not doing all the work, so they could be fresh during the season.
Right.
So I probably wasn't one of the guys like, nah, he's one of our guys going to make the 53. He's just like, hey, he's fresh, he's fast, give us good looks at practice. Let me bring him up.
Let's use him.
You know what I'm saying? So I get there and I end up being one of the first 53 guys, right? And
how old are you about this time? Approximately
23.
23.
So then, 23 years old, my first season in the NFL, my father, who was a military veteran, right? He was a Marine. He passes away in like October. Right. And he had complications, heart attacks. He had different things. So it was tough. So my mom, who was an ordained reverend, she was taking care of everything, holding down. And then in February, she goes into the hospital and she passes away.
Of heartbreak?
Essentially that's what it was. But the term was she had many TIAs or many strokes. She went in there to get a hysterectomy. And during her hysterectomy, during recovery, they took her off her medicine for her TIAs and didn't put her in another medicine. So then she clotted and had a stroke and didn't come out of it.
It's awful.
Right?
Right.
At the same time, my brother, right, who is 3 years older than me, and I would always say we look like twins, which was great because he was 3 years older, right? Because essentially when he turned 21, I turned 21.
Right. Yeah. You know I have an older brother too. I see you.
You know what I'm saying? So you'll catch that later when you go home, right? But essentially, but I was like, he had cancer, and then I ended up being his bone marrow donor. So during my second season in NFL, when I'm fighting for a roster.
So your father passes away,
right?
And then
October,
shortly after
February, my mom
passed away, and then your brother's diagnosed with cancer, and you're his bone marrow donor,
right? And then a year later, the next February, he passes away.
So all this happens within like
2 years, 18 months.
Yeah, 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
You unfortunately lose your father, your mother, and your brother.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
and
hopefully
I'm 24.
Hopefully they're resting peacefully right now.
And you know what the amazing part? I've always felt like I have angels now watching me. So,
right.
So during the games, I don't know, I never shared this, but I would always like hit my chest and then go up like 3 times.
For all 3 of them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I always felt like they had the best seats in the house.
Yeah.
They're all big fans, always believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself. And you know, that kind of, and during the time, like, and so many times we do stuff ourselves that's inspiring.
Right.
If we look back at that moment, we'd be like, wow, that's some pretty dope shit. Like you did that. But during the time, it's just like, this is what I have to do.
Right.
I don't have an option here.
Right.
But so many people, but now I'm flourishing on the field. Right. And then people are like, and obviously the papers are picking up the stories and they're like, you went through all of that and how are you still out here?
Yeah. You were motivated by them.
Yeah. But the thing of it is like in life, we all have these moments.
Right.
Where we have enough that occur in our life that will give us permission to quit. And people won't fault us for it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Most times when you quit, people are like, oh, well, you're a quitter. Like, what? Come on, you could have got over that. Like, you dropped out of school.
So you had the opportunity, and almost for lack of a better word, the hall pass or the get out of jail free card to quit, but you chose not to.
Right.
You chose to continue to excel.
Yeah.
And continue to kick ass, and remember where you came from, and make sure that you were constantly doing what you knew you had to do with them watching from above.
No, that's it.
That's deep, man.
Yeah.
Justin over there, he's got a little tissue.
Yeah. and for me, it's just like, you know, again, that's why I say it's like what you leave in them is like what my parents left in me was a fighter, right? And it's just like, if I quit, it'd be disrespectful for them and what they invested and what they sacrificed to get me where I am today.
Right.
So I was like, I'm carrying the torch and I got to keep it lit.
And you got to pass that on to your daughter.
Right. Yeah, and I got 3 kids. I got a daughter. I got son. I got 21 nieces and nephews.
Whoa!
Right? Yeah. So I mean,
so how old are your kids again?
My kids are 13, 11, and 9.
13, 11, and 9.
So girl, boy, girl. Yeah. So it's just like So for me, it's just like you know, I'm paving the way. I'm showing them, and I tell my kids, it's like, yo, use me more as a resource and an authority. And what I mean by that is just like, yo, I don't have all the answers.
No, none of us do.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm not going to like dictate, demand. I'm going to ask you, like, what do you want out of this situation? What are you looking for? What are you hoping to get? What are you hoping to receive? And help you guide you to your decision.
Right.
But I don't want to, as a father, tell you what to do. Like, I live my life. Like, I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
And I haven't been perfect. So I want them to.
Well, I think it's important that when you say you haven't been perfect, but you recognize your failures, you recognize your faults, you recognize what can either get corrected or that's just what it is. Yeah. It's known. You messed this up. That's what it is. It just goes over there, and I got to keep moving on. I got to keep moving forward.
That's it.
Yeah, because you've always got to be moving forward. Because once you start getting stagnant, I guess I'm gonna steal a little bit from you, but that's when you keep going back to that hammer.
Yeah,
and the hammer works for the nail, but doesn't work for a screw.
Not at all.
Right.
And the crazy part is like so many of us dwell so much in these situations, and then our past becomes a prison.
Right.
Right.
Because you're living in the past.
Right. And every time we're thinking about a new thought, we're thinking about, oh, that didn't work last time. Look what happened. Right. And it's a prison. It's like, nah, it's not a loss, it's a lesson. And it's like when we're in football, like no matter how bad we lost by, we always watch film and critiqued ourselves.
Right.
When we won games, we always watch film and critiqued ourselves. And there's much more to be learned from your losses than there is from your victories.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Right? So
100%.
So if you go back and like rewatch the film or just re-look at what
you can smile when you see that good play, but then you see the errors, you're like, okay, that's how I get better.
Yeah, turn it off. Most people want to turn it off.
Yeah.
And that's why they never improve.
That's the problem. That's why they don't improve.
Right? Because I don't want to see that. I want to run from that. I'm going to hide from that. I'm going to put that in the corner and never look at it again.
Yeah, see that touchdown?
Yeah, no, bro. We gotta review this plane because it didn't work.
Right.
We got to identify why it didn't work, where it didn't work. We got to fix it.
Well, and that translates into business, right? And
100%.
And you know, I mentioned this earlier, your GaryBrackett.com, which is a perfect time to put it on here. It's GaryBrackett.com. That's where you do your motivational speaking and your business coaching.
Exactly.
Because you have the experience. Well, and I'm not gonna go over everything that you just said, but basically you're the underdog, you're in college, you know, four professional teams come to watch you instead of 16 or 20 they're normally there.
Right.
Then you get in the NFL. And now you've got a chance in the NFL, and you take that opportunity, and then you have serious tragedy in your family.
Right.
That's what I'm calling it. You're unfortunately your father passed away, your mother passed away, then your older brother passes away, and you know that still lights the torch hotter for you. Mm-hmm. So you continue to kick ass. And I love that you said you haven't told anyone this, and you do that 3 times for all 3 of them. Yeah. And I remember watching when you would do that, but I had no idea because I mean everyone loves you here, right?
Yeah.
Well, in the NFL in general, but I mean here in Indianapolis, like
I think people relate to me,
right?
Because I think you probably think of yourself as the underdog.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right,
right.
And like the underdog is not like a new thing. It's like so many people like weren't first to get picked. Right. Didn't have the parents that gave them a bunch of money. Didn't have like things laid out for them and figured it out.
Yeah, my parents worked their ass off.
Yeah.
And sacrificed so much so my brother and I could have a new pair of hockey skates. But I can tell you, we ate a bologna sandwich and my mom made it taste good.
Yeah.
And she made it taste good.
Yeah. But I think as parents, like that's our role, right?
Yeah.
To set our kids up for success.
Yeah. And my parents would always tell me, you know, we're doing this. You've got to, no matter what. Like, I remember I was a little kid and I quit playing hockey. And my dad said, "Okay, yeah, you quit." We went home. But they did. They took my hockey equipment. And I threw it in the closet, and I thought they got rid of my hockey equipment. Right. Yeah. So you know, like I don't know, a couple hours later, I don't know how the story actually. My mom reminds me of the story, and then all of a sudden I'm crying. I was like, "I want to play hockey again." And my dad's like, "No, you're a quitter.
Yeah,
you don't get to play anymore." And so he made me sit there and cry. And, you know, I'm talking to my mom and I'm just a little kid. Yeah. And then they taught me about you don't quit. You just don't quit.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that's the last thing I ever quit in my life.
Yeah.
And I was probably like this big. And then finally my dad, I think they told me they went and sold it at like like the flea market or something. Yeah. Back then we'd buy stuff at the, you know, you'd go buy the used equipment. I don't know what it was called, but and my dad's like, well, maybe we can go get it. And you know, if you're gonna, but you can't quit again. Like you can't be a quitter. And I'll never forget that because you can't quit.
The pain of regret is far greater than the pain of discipline.
Yeah, say that one more time.
The pain of regret is far greater than the pain of discipline.
We got a lot of good ones on this one, Justin. This is good.
And speaking of relating to him, I'm messaging my buddy Kyle in court. Says hello.
Okay. Yep.
And Kyle says that he just had him do a conference for him.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
He was a favorite part of the conference.
Okay, I'm just in case anyone didn't hear that. So Kyle, who is an executive at
Bibeau Harris.
Yeah, BMO Harris, a friend of ours and also a friend of yours. They hired you to come in, and he just sent Justin a message saying that you were the best speaker at the event.
And Kyle takes all of employees through one of his programs in his book.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about your program that you do, but let's talk about the movie real quick.
Yeah. So the movie, that's what the movie's about, right? It's called Brackett, and we had a trailer. We went out to LA.
That was a trailer you're showing us.
Yeah,
earlier?
yeah. So it was like 2 or 3 years ago. We shot a trailer.
It's so hard to make a movie.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, at the end of the day, you only need one person to like it.
Right.
Thank you.
Justin's been saying that.
And the greatest thing ever, bro. Like it can be on the shelves forever. One person with a big enough pocketbook can ink it and get it done.
And just get it done. And I'm not even gonna get into it.
That's a different show.
Yeah, we're gonna have a whole show on this amazing movie it's happening. This is happening.
It is. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah. Who's gonna play you?
So who played me was Dexter Darin, and he now became a friend. He's a fantastic actor. He's a Maze Runner.
That was for the trailer.
Yeah. I don't know if you know.
We'll put a link to the trailer on.
Yeah. So Maze Runner, there was like a bunch of different Maze Runners that kind of came out. I had like 3 of them, but he was one of the guys on Maze Runner. Unfortunately, like in LA, is like after a couple years, people age out of roles, right? Because
for sure.
In my role,
Mark Wahlberg can't play me anymore.
Exactly. That'd be a great. Yeah. But my role, going through high school, college, and then in the NFL, right? So the age has to be, I don't know,
appropriate.
Yeah, exactly. So, but hopefully he can still get in and play somebody. But he did a fantastic job. And yeah. So it's fun.
And what's the trailer, Justin?
It's called Bracket.
So it's just Bracket.
Bracket trailer.
Yeah, Bracket trailer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, link it. But but the crazy one, it's hella humbling, right? Having a movie potentially made, right?
Right.
But 2, going back to like the letters that I would receive when I was in the midst of my struggle, the inspiration that I would give people, right? Because people, like, life happens to us all, right? It doesn't discriminate.
Right.
If you're rich, if you're poor, if you're black, you're white, it doesn't matter, right? Life just happens.
It does.
And sometimes it's not fair.
But life's not fair.
Yeah, but that's exactly it. But what you do after it happens is what defines you.
Right.
And so many people don't know what to do. And they're searching. And to see someone, like I watched, TikToks and Twitter, it's like, this part of your life is when we don't flinch. This part of our life, when trouble, when adversity, when something comes, we look at it dead in the eye and I say, what?
Yeah. Say, come on.
Now what? Come on.
Yeah.
And so many people,
let's do this.
When adversity or something comes, they're like, oh, no, not this time. I'm not ready. They'll go away, come back.
Yeah, hiding like a little bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're never getting nothing done.
Right.
So just like, and I tell people, this is what I say in my conferences when I teach people have to like rethink what we've been taught when we were growing up. We've been taught when we were growing up that success is over here and failure is over here.
Right.
And if you wanted to be successful, you had to march and do these things. You had to go to school. You had to do this, right? And that was the success. But reality is success is over here and failure is here. It's on the way to success.
Right.
It's not the opposite direction.
Yeah.
You're going to fail your way to success. And that failure doesn't define you. And every time you fail, get your ass back up and go back after it.
Yeah, you have to GSD. You have to.
You have to. And the people that do that, you look at the most successful people in the world, they have the most failures.
Right.
But do we ever talk about, when we talk about Brett Favre, right? Do we ever talk about his interceptions? He's like ranked top 5 interceptions. Like, do we ever talk about Hank Aaron? Do we ever talk about his strikeouts? He what, top 5 home run kings? Top 5 strikeouts.
Right.
They're directly correlated.
Yeah.
Failures and success are directly correlated.
Right.
And that's what people just have to understand and like get over it. I mean, fail like appropriately, right?
Right.
It's I'm not just talking about just fail for the sake of failing. I mean, it's calculated, it's approach. We're trying to win, but don't divorce. Like what I say is, fall in love with the process, divorce yourself from the outcome.
Fall in love with the process, divorce yourself from the outcome.
Right. Most people, like in your gym, you train, right? Most people only train if in 30 days, 60 days, I'm going to see my chest up to here. I'm going to see a 6-pack. I'm going to see, my neck, my thighs, everything you think. That's it. That's the outcome. If that outcome is not there, I'm no longer committed to this process.
Right.
But when you commit to the process and fall in love with the process, the outcome doesn't matter.
Right.
It's the process you fall in love with.
Right. That's 100% accurate.
And
I said, if you because referencing a gym, if you look at like in January, everyone puts their New Year's resolution. Everyone's going to go to the gym.
Crowded.
It's the worst time to go to the gym if you actually go to the gym.
Right.
But give it 2-3 weeks. Yeah, you're good. Back to normal.
You know the craziest thing?
Because everyone stops going.
The craziest thing in life is just like how people like there's the relationship with failure. They're telling themselves, I'm gonna work out 5 days a week this whole year, right? So the first week they miss 2 days, and then they say, you know what? I missed 2 days. There goes the resolution.
Yeah. Because they fall off that horse and they don't get back on it.
They don't get back
on it.
Bro,
it's a fact. It's like if you want to not drink for 30 days, right? And all of a sudden you're with your buddies, and because you want to do a little cleanse, you're with your buddies. Day 2, you have a drink, and you're like, oh, I'm out. Yep. Instead of being like, yeah, no, I slipped up, and you know what?
I'm gonna get right back on.
Yeah, I'm on day 3. Let's go.
Hey.
Let's just do it.
Yeah, and I think that's just it. And people don't realize that. People don't realize, and then they say after 30 days, but you failed. You drunk. I know, but for 29 days, I didn't drink.
Yeah.
No, but you failed though.
Yeah.
You said you did, but for 29, bro, I drank every day for 20 years.
Yeah.
And for 30, like.
Yeah, I did what I was supposed to do. I had a little hiccup, but you know what I did is I got back on the horse.
They say Albert Einstein, one time he was doing this math equation, and he 1 + 2 = 3, 1 + 3 = 4, and then he intentionally made him say 1 + 4 = 6.
I know this.
Right? And
yeah,
then
keep going.
And the whole class behind him is laughing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you laughing about? Oh, you made a mistake.
Yeah, he's like, no, I got 9 right.
But you made one mistake. I got 9 right.
Yeah, no one said, yeah, I know this because I had a teacher do this with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. You thought it'd be appropriate to let me know that 1 was wrong instead of saying 9 were right. Because the flip of that is saying, hey, great job, you got 9 right. We have 1 we need to work on. And then we focus on that 1 we need to work on. That's how we get better, faster, stronger.
You know what the percentages of baseball that you need to hit to be in the Hall of Fame?
I don't.
Right? It's like
Justin, do you know?
Probably like 3.
Yeah.
It's like 3 out of 10. Right? It's like a 350 batting average in the MLB. You can be a Hall of Famer.
It's hard to hit a fucking baseball.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, I get it, but
it's even harder in life, right? You know
but if you think about it, that means if it's a 300, that means 700 is misses.
Right.
I mean,
yes.
I mean mathematically,
yeah.
Like
of course,
that's not how they do their stats. But you know what I mean? Anyone who's watching this as baseball fans, like that's not how it works.
Yeah,
it's fucking wrong.
It's a calculation you can prepare by GPS.
Fucking flow chart.
Yeah. No,
but yeah, and I think people don't recognize, or they, you know what? I'm going to rephrase that. They recognize it. They don't want to accept it. Because you know when you made a mistake, you know when you fail. Yeah. But if you just push that in a corner and be like, oh, whatever, yeah, then you're never going to get better. Yeah. And then you're we all have friends like that they're the forever victim.
Yeah,
it's always everyone else's fault. Yeah, they can never get that extra job. They can't get that extra thing done because they don't have time. What I just heard there is fucking excuse.
The worst thing you can ever do for a victim is solve their problem. That's the worst thing you could. They will have no one to blame. They'll be pissed off because then they'll look in the mirror and like it's me.
It's me.
Like my father would always tell me, like, if it is to be, it is up to me.
If it is to be, it's up to me.
If it is to be, it is up to me. And I tell myself that all the time.
That's my next tattoo.
You know what I'm saying?
After everyday GSD.
Yeah. That's legit, but it's just like,
yeah.
Like it's not. So
if it's meant to be, it's up to me.
Yeah, that's it. And someone was like, what's the greatest lie ever told? And then the guy says, that it's not that simple. And then he's like what's not that simple? Like anything. Like what's the reality? Like it is that simple. It's like it's not easy, right? Or it's easy to do, but it's also easy not to do.
Right.
So that's where discipline, but it's not complicated, right? It's a science of achievement, right? If you spend X and you make Y and you invest, you know what I'm saying, W, you will make this much money. Like
it's like discipline and motivation, right?
Yeah.
People are like, oh yeah, I'm so motivated. Well, you need to be disciplined to have motivation. You can be motivated to go to the gym and then lose your motivation.
Right.
But if you lose your motivation and you're disciplined, you're going to get your ass up and you're going to go to the gym. And then you're going to go, yeah, I wasn't motivated to come here today, but you know what I did? Check the box off because I came to the gym like I said I was going to do because I'm disciplined. I'm supposed to get up at this time. I'm supposed to go to work. I'm supposed to go to the gym. I'm supposed to pick up my kids. I'm supposed to do this. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever you're supposed to do, that's where discipline comes in. Motivation, obviously you want to be motivated, but don't confuse motivation with discipline. And a lot of people do. People are like, oh, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you go to the gym every day or how you do this. It's because I have discipline. Yeah. I don't have the motivation to do that. Well, it's because you don't have discipline.
Yeah. It's a loop, right?
It's a vicious loop.
And the loop of motivation starts with you actually doing something. Then you feel good about doing it. Then you recap. Then you do it again. Then you feel good about doing it. But if you never...
Yeah, on the flip side of that.
If you never GSD,
yeah,
right, I mean, the motivation will never come.
Right.
Like, you know when I'm the best working out? Like when I work out Monday, Tuesday. The percentage of me working out 5 days a week when I work out Monday, Tuesday might be 80%, 90%. If I miss Monday, Tuesday, I might not work out the rest of the week.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In life, like if I eat good for breakfast and lunch, the percentage of me eating good for dinner is way higher.
Way higher. If you go out and get shitty and the next morning you eat like shit, then you're probably going to eat the next meal shitty.
Fuck, it's cheat day.
Yeah, it's cheat day.
Week.
Yeah, it's cheat week. And you're like, it's already Tuesday. It's already Wednesday. Yeah.
I'll start
next week. Yeah. I'm gonna start next week. Yeah. Or it's like June. It's like June or July, and you're like, yeah, you know what I'm gonna do? New Year's resolution. I'm gonna do. It's fucking June, man.
June, bro.
Yeah, I know. And it used to drive me crazy with my employees, smokers, right?
Yeah.
So we did it. We have a no smoking policy. Mm-hmm. But I started trying to motivate the employees to quit smoking, which I realized after time, you can't motivate anyone to quit smoking. They have to want to quit. Yeah. And I get it because it's an addiction, all that stuff. But my point is I would tell them, I was like, I'll give you this much money if you quit smoking. They're like, oh, okay. And the next day they're done. They're not smoking. You know, hey, Darin, I'm day 2, day 3. And all of a sudden I see them out back and they're smoking. I'm like, you're smoking? Yeah. I'll next year when you do it, I'll try again. No, just quit fucking right now again. Yeah. Just stop smoking. Yeah. Do it for you. Don't do it because I'm trying to give you money to quit. I'm just trying to motivate you in some way because you don't have the discipline.
Yeah. But the challenge then becomes, and what the reality is like, people don't know who they are. People only know who they were told to be.
Or what they're supposed to be.
Right? So people have been wearing this mask for so long that they don't know like what's under the mask. And they've been playing these roles in their lives, right? These characters, and they don't know, they've forgotten who was their original character.
Right.
And I think once you realize like who the original character is, you got a far greater chance of being successful. Because then you identify like what their values are, what their core is, what their soul says. And then you can actually really start to define your life and really start to like design it.
Right.
Because you know like what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do.
Right.
Like some people like don't drink. Right. And God bless them.
Yeah.
And someone,
I like a cocktail.
Someone said like, I feel sorry for people who don't drink because when they wake up, that's the best they're going to feel all day. Right? So I enjoy an adult beverage.
That's good. That's good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but it's just like, yo, define who you are and live it.
Yeah, drink or don't drink. Do what you want to do, but just be you.
Yeah,
right?
that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's funny. Oh, shit. Okay, so how do you get your business coaching jobs? How do people find you, and how do they reach out to you? And
that's a great question. One, referrals. I get a bunch of referrals, but two, like online
because you did BMO. I mean,
BMO speaking. So Kyle, you speak to speak. Like you're a speaker. You know, anytime in my mind, every time I speak, like the money I made from the speeches, that's gone.
Right.
So my goal then with the speech is to get more speeches. So being a dynamic speaker, showing up on time, being easy to work with, right, going above and beyond what the contract says.
Yeah, sticking around after.
You know what I'm saying? Shaking the hands, like doing all that type of stuff. So I try to make it easy. Like if you're easy to work with, that's the biggest thing. Because most times speakers is just like last minute is like, hey, are you here? Are you in the parking lot? Like, I don't want to bother you.
Yeah.
Like, so I try to like be like communicate like, hey, I'm here. I'm on my way. I'm doing something. Like, show up early. And all those things matter. Also with the podcast, Success Leaves Clues, the different
Success Leaves Clues. Tongue twister for me and only me.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So just online, I also try to drop value. And I think so many people are afraid, like, all right, if I sell digital programs, I sell online programs that I designed and I created. And
so you created these programs for people to be better in life and business?
In life and business.
Okay.
Right? Life and business. Because I think it's no longer like this separation where I got my business and then I got my personal life.
100%. I've been saying that for a while.
You know what I'm saying? So I think so I'm a Tony Robbins student, like, you know what I'm saying? He's a guru. And he talks about, I think there's 7 pillars in your life. There's your personal life, self-development. There's your business. There's your fitness and your health, right? There's your intimate life, social life. There's your social life. And there's your finances and your spirituality. So my thinking is like, how do you become a champion in each one of these areas? Because if it's a foundation and if one of these areas are weak, guess what happens to the whole thing? Guess what happens if
House of Cards.
If you're 6 out of 7 and your health is the one that's weak.
Yeah, it's bad.
Right? What happens if your spirituality and your soul is damaged?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so all these things, like, and I love, I don't love Tom Brady, but I love what he said.
Wait, it's on the record. We just heard Gary Brackett say he loves Tom Brady.
I love this one thing.
He's like, cut.
Hey, just want to give the correct context. But someone asked him once, successful career, 6 Super Bowls. They was like, yo, just give me one piece of advice. Like, what's the one thing that's gonna make like the difference? And he just laughs. Like that's it. It's not one thing. Like, everything matters.
Yeah.
It all everything matters, bro. And so many people are convinced that, like, yo, if you're a baller, you just got a whole bunch of money, that's all matters. Everyone loves you. Nah, bro. Like,
no.
You still need your fitness, your health. You still need your relationships.
Yeah.
Like, I see so many people that are broken, that are balling, top 1%, but their kids hate them.
Right. Or their neighbors hate them and they don't have friends.
You know what I'm saying? So for me,
fake friends.
I want to have a complete life. Like, I want to be solid with the people that I love that mean the most to me. And for me, it's about understanding what those areas are and making sacrifices and commitment. Right now in my life, like, I'm not maximizing my income. Like, I know I'm not, right? I have jobs that could have paid me 7 figures and I could have been a CEO and been overseas and doing different type of stuff.
Right.
But it takes me away from my number one priority, which is my family and my kids.
Your children.
So for me, it's just like, no, like, during this season, when they're 13, 11, and 9, like, I want to be around.
And does the 11-year-old's your boy, is he into sports?
Yeah, he's into sports.
Music? Because 11, like.
11, he's into sports and video games.
Okay.
But the thing with it is just like, I don't have to live, like, I was pretty good, right? I don't have to live vicariously through you. I want you to be competitive. And my older daughter, she's 13.
That's a good point. You just say, because there's so many parents out there. And fortunately, because I grew up playing hockey and my dad also played hockey and he was good. Yeah. So he was like, if you don't want to play, don't play. Yeah. But you're good, son. So you got to keep working at it.
Yeah. So my daughter, I told my oldest daughter, 13-year-old, and I said, hey, man, like, I was like, trying to encourage her, you got to dominate. You got to do this. She's like, Dad, I don't know when to dominate. I don't know when, like, spiking people's faces. Like, what? So I'm just like, all right, well, let me know when you want to dominate. Like, if you just want to mess around, like, I just come support you because I love you because you're my daughter.
Yeah.
I can't coach you that. I can't coach someone who wants to be average. Like,
I can't teach you to be
I won't. You know what I'm saying? I'm not lowering down my standards to, like, teach average.
Yeah.
But when you want to be good, like, let me know.
Yeah. I'm not lowering my standards to teach average. I love it.
So then this year I'm like, yo, she didn't play travel. And then I was like, all right, I'm like, yo, I just need to know, like, you trying to be good, great, you trying to dominate? She's like, she's 13 now. And now is the point where you got the caddy friends and the little clits and people that But the best player is always well liked by everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The best player gets a pass.
Yeah.
So she's like, no, I want to dominate. All right, cool.
You're like, I got you.
I got you. I was waiting on you. Right?
I was waiting on you.
So now we train we do speed and agility, we do power, that type of stuff. And now she gets after it. And I can see that she doesn't only say it, like she's committed. So next season, I promise you will be her best season.
And what sport?
Volleyball. She's like 5'7", 5'8".
Oh, wow.
Size 11 shoe, bro.
And she's 13.
13.
And she's I mean, she has to be killing it. It's in her blood.
Yeah. I mean, her mom was like probably like a player of the year for the state in volleyball, basketball. So very talented.
So two great gene pools.
Yeah, exactly. So she's going to be good. But the thing is hard, and we joked about this. How many car garages you got?
It's a few.
It's a few cars. So we joke about this. We're like, kids with 3-car garages typically don't do really well in sports. Right? Because the necessity isn't there.
Yeah, I love it.
Right? So like it's always funny, like when I'm
that's
coaching athletes, I'm like, how many car garages you got? Oh, I got 3. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Life is good.
Yeah, life is good.
Yeah. So you don't have to. Like you don't have to. You got options.
Yeah, I don't have any kids, so they don't have to deal with that. But when I was a kid, for many houses there was no garage. Yeah.
But what kind of athlete were you?
Yeah, it was good. Right? I mean, I'm bragging, but I was good.
Yeah. Like legit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just a different mentality, right?
And we shoveled our driveway, and we mowed our own grass.
Things.
Yeah, and
So it's like for me, like how do you artificially introduce like grit and perseverance to your kids?
Right.
It's not built in. You know what I'm saying? They're not missing meals. They're not. You know what I'm saying?
Right. They're not eating that bologna sandwich.
You know what I'm saying? Their mama's making it good, right? Yeah. They're not doing that. They got legit. They got steak. Like we go out to eat, and like my kids are like, "Oh, I want the lobster." I'm like, "Lobster?
Lobster? How do you even know what that is?"
Where did you do that at?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but as a parent, I feel like that's what you want to do, right? You want I wanted to set the template where they didn't have to experience what I had to experience.
Yeah,
but now it's kind of like you understand is those experiences made you who you were.
100%. And they can learn from you, not just your children, people that you go and talk to, because you're not walking on stage and saying, "I'm great, I did this." You're saying, "Yeah, I'm successful because this didn't work. I learned from this, and that's why I was able to excel in this." From someone who can be going into I keep saying a walk-on. What a free agent?
Yeah, walk-on free agent.
Yeah, a free agent onto a football team, becoming the captain of the team, of winning a Super Bowl. I mean, there's as you know, there's people that play 20 years in the NFL that they don't get that opportunity, or they get the same opportunity everyone else does when they're in the NFL. It didn't get capitalized on. They weren't on that winning team. They didn't make that team a winning team.
I mean, there's Hall of Famers that didn't go to playoffs.
That's right.
Like the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't take for granted the opportunity.
But you busted your ass. You've been busting your ass since
forever.
Day one.
But for me, it just it's my DNA.
Right.
Like I don't know any other way.
Yeah, one of the guy that was just on the previous episode, I'm not sure when they're going to air. So one of my friends, he had saw me. He saw me on another podcast, and the person on the podcast asked me, "What do you think about your competition?" And I said, "Well, I feel like I don't have competition. I'm not being cocky. I'm confident. I operate differently. I operate at a higher level because I get up early. I stay up late. When they're sleeping, I'm not. I'm going to the gym when they're on the couch.
Right.
I'm making sure everything is getting done all the time. My motor's constantly running.
Yeah.
And that separates me from the individual who's like, got the business from his father.
Yeah. But then people will say, well, don't you get burnt out?
Oh, fuck no, man.
It's like, what?
Oh, burnt out.
So
no, I believe me. I'm like, we're enjoying ourselves right now. I mean, I have a great time. My wife and I enjoy going out and having drinks and going to dinner, and I go to charity events. I volunteer at the VFW. I got to be there at 6 a.m. to cook. By the way, anyone in the local area of Indianapolis, Carmel area, come to the VFW every other Saturday. We're always cooking good food.
I love it.
But you just got to fucking hustle, man.
But you know what? You know, so many people never realize that there's a second win. They never extended their first win.
Yeah.
You know, as an athlete,
yeah,
you're just like, yo, I'm gonna leave this in the tank because you have a second win.
So my parents would watch me play hockey. They'd be up in the bleachers, you know, and I was a little kid skating, and my dad would tell me before, he goes, push this little button right here. That's your panic button. That means that gets you your second win. You push that button, and I'd be like tired out on the ice, and I'm like, I'm a little kid, I'm like, my head shaking like this, and I'd hear my dad like screaming like, hustle, like, they didn't come to watch me fuck off, right?
Hell no.
And he'd go like this. He'd be like
press the button,
and I'd look at him and I go, and next thing you know, boom,
activated.
And that's a mental thing. It wasn't a real button, people. Yeah. But you have to get after it. Hey, listen, I know you're extremely busy. We've been at this about an hour now. I'd love to stay and talk for a couple hours, so we'll probably have to get you back on the show.
I love it.
But I just want to make sure I've touched on the right GaryBrackett.com for motivational speaking and business coaching.
Right.
Also, Success Leaves Clues.
Right.
And that's on all platforms, I'm assuming.
All platforms.
Perfect. And I have a little gift for you.
I love it.
Because you are a true everyday GSD person, and you've been doing it for a long time. Here's a little everyday GSD t-shirt with American flag on it. That's for you, sir. And I'm going to lean over. It's a bigger table now, but thank you, brother. I appreciate you coming on the show, and continue kicking ass. And hopefully, in the near future, we can do something together. Let's get after it, brother.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you.